All right, good evening and welcome into Sports Talk on a Budget. It is June 4th, year of our Lord 2025. Got a special show today. Obviously, as you see to my left, I believe, as you see on the screen, got my boy Justin here. We usually do a playoff preview. Things didn't work out there, but we will do a finals preview and we'll talk about the playoffs a ton. So this will be an all NBA show today. So how you doing, man?
Doing well. Glad to be back.
Yeah.
Love talking about the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, hasn't been a ton of NBA on this show, but definitely love to do it during the playoffs. I think it's kind of the best time of year for it. Just wanted
Sure.
to kind of dive in a little bit before we get into the finals preview, which is what this show is mostly going to be about. Just kind of looking back at the playoffs and things like that. What would you say kind of your biggest takeaway has been so far?
I mean, man, I think the Pacers run has just been crazy. I
Right,
don't think anyone expected them to win any series they were in
right,
to get this far. I mean, I don't think anyone saw them beating Milwaukee. Then they, play against Cleveland, beat them, and then they play a pretty good Knicks team, beat them, win the first two games in New York, which was just crazy.
right,
I mean, I think that's the biggest takeaway. Like, I don't think anybody had this finals matchup at
right.
the beginning of the season for sure.
Yeah, I think maybe some people, maybe the Thunder, maybe people were on that.
Sure, sure.
But yeah, the Pacers, I thought they could beat Milwaukee. I thought that would be a good series, but yeah, I didn't think they'd beat Cleveland. I don't know, Cleveland had injuries, but I thought that series Cleveland would win pretty easily. And then going up
Yeah.
against the Knicks, especially the Knicks coming off of the Celtics series win, I was like, okay, the Knicks are hot. They got home court. Like I think this is going to be their year to get to the finals, and that didn't happen. And so yeah, I mean, great job by Indiana. Rick Carlisle's done an incredible job there. Halliburton, Siakam. I just love their role players too. McConnell, guys like that, Miles Turner. I feel like they just all kind of mesh really well. Oh, did you mute yourself? Justin, you still there? Uh-oh.
Sorry, I don't know what just happened.
You back?
Can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me? Sorry, I don't know what
Yeah,
just
yeah.
happened.
You're
We'll have
good.
to
You're
edit
good.
that.
I could cut that part out. We're all good.
Okay. Yeah, anyway, yeah, their consistency has just been crazy. I mean, just from everybody. I mean, even if Tyrese didn't have a good game, I mean, Pascal would step up or so their role players. I mean, and you just saw game one against the Knicks how much their role players just stepped up. I mean, no one saw them winning that game with like 8 minutes left or whatever. So, I mean, the fact that they pulled that off was a large part and due to their role players. So I definitely agree with what you're saying there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think like just got my biggest takeaway from the playoffs so far is just some of the teams that like the Pacers that made a run, the Knicks that made a run, obviously knocking out my Celtics. We can get in that here in a minute here, but
Yeah.
the Timberwolves, I didn't expect the Timberwolves to be back in the conference finals. Definitely not the Pacers. The Knicks, obviously going into the playoffs, the Thunder have kind of been the best team all year. That wasn't a shock to anyone. So I think them going seven against Denver, I thought was a little bit of a shock. I thought they'd have easier road with Denver, but I think it's my biggest takeaway is just some of these teams coming out of nowhere a little bit and making a run. And I think it's cool because you get some of these new guys, these young guys, kind of getting up at the top of the league. Where it's like we've seen the LeBrons, we've seen the Currys, we've seen even the Celtics. Even though I wanted to see them again, cool to see some new blood, some new teams, new players get up there. Was it the best two series? No, it wasn't. Like one went six, one went five. But I think it was still cool to see some new stars, some new teams there as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it definitely gives the league more variety, which is, I feel, never a bad thing. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I completely agree with that. I mean, the Wolves getting as far as they got was pretty crazy. I mean, they beat the Lakers. I already know how that felt. And
Right?
I mean,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, it was just, yeah, these playoffs have been pretty wild in terms of matchups. I mean, didn't think that the Warriors would get knocked out when they got knocked out either. So,
Right.
I mean, yeah, I agree with everything you said. I mean, it's cool to get that variety in there and yeah, new young players. And I mean, it's cool to see two teams in the finals who, I mean, more or less don't have like a multiple all-star type team. And I mean, we saw how that worked out in Phoenix and they're,
Right.
yeah. So
Right. Exactly. All right, so moving on from that a little bit, what would you say has been like either your biggest surprise or disappointment so far from the playoffs?
I mean, personally, the Lakers, of course. I mean, that was just terrible, terrible series for them. I mean, obviously they didn't. I feel like they didn't prepare that much. Um, you know, I feel like I feel like it was avoidable, and they could have won that series had they picked up more depth at the center position.
Right.
And I think coaching decisions, all of that led to a swift defeat by the Timberwolves. So that was a big disappointment, and I think on the opposite end, as much as I am a Lakers fan, the Celtics losing, I thought that was just wild. I mean, I thought they were, it looked like they were gearing up to at least head to the finals again,
Right.
and I definitely did not see New York beating them. Obviously, the Tatum injury sucked, but yeah, I mean, it was just crazy to watch that and super disappointing because I felt like, I mean, not that the Pacers and Thunder series won't be great, but obviously we know who the Celtics are and who they've been. So,
Right.
it would have been cool to see them fight it out in the finals for sure.
Right. Well, yeah, I'm total agreement. Those are my two like surprises, disappointments. We'll start with the Lakers. I did. I
Sure.
thought people were a little high on them because I was like, okay, like what's their size and what's their defense, and that kind of ended up being what killed them. It was like, yeah, LeBron and Luca are great, but LeBron's also 41. Luca doesn't play any defense, and they don't really have much depth, much size. So I thought they could get past Minnesota, but Minnesota with Randall and Gobert, I was like, it could be tough. And obviously that was tough for them. So I was surprised a little bit that they only won one game in that series and didn't get past Minnesota. But yeah, the bigger surprise for me, and obviously disappointment too, was the Celtics. Just frustrating to watch them. Like, first two games, you're up 20 in the third quarter. You're up like double digits in the fourth quarter. And just watching them shoot three after three after three and miss it. And then it's like, okay, well, you got 2, 6, 7, 6, 8 wings and Tatum and Brown. You could take Josh Hart and Brunson off the dribble. Now we're just going to keep jacking up threes, keep missing. And it was just so frustrating.
Yeah.
It's like, I know that's their philosophy. They shot like 50. They averaged 50 a game this year, which is also just ridiculous.
Mhm.
But at some point, it's like if it's not working and you're losing these giant leads and you're losing your momentum, like take the ball to the basket, get fouled. But it was frustrating to watch, and I think it's something that maybe this team needed a little bit because I think they got a little bit too kind of full of themselves. Like, hey, we could win this way. No one shoots so many threes, no one plays like this, but we could do it. And it's like, no, you can't. Like, you're going to be cold sometimes. You're going to get cold. Drew Holiday is getting up there. Al Horford's getting up there. They're not going to be able to play these minutes and knock down threes. So, yeah, that was probably my biggest disappointment. Obviously, losing Tatum, he'll probably be out next year too with the knee injury or with the Achilles injury. So that's going to be tough. So not only do you lose the series in the second round, but you lose your best player for probably the next year. So interesting to see what's going to happen in Boston if they keep the whole team. If they kind of just try to run it back without Tatum and see if he can join them at the end of next year. But easily the biggest disappointment to me was definitely the Celtics going into this playoffs. I thought it'd be them or Cleveland out of the East, and I thought they could beat Cleveland. And I thought, okay, well, they should get back to the finals, and then you play the Thunder there and see what happens. But yeah, I was disappointed, as you can imagine. But one other topic I wanted to get into real quick, just before we got to some of the finals previews and some other things, is that breaking news. I think it was yesterday it dropped. So the Knicks get all the way to the conference finals for the first time in 25 years. So basically, like for the first time in your lifetime, pretty much. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and then they fire Tibbs. It's like, why are we firing Tom Thibodeau? Like, you weren't expected to get past the Celtics? Like, you were going to be a second round exit team. Like, no one thought you'd go further, and you get to the conference finals. I get it, you were the favored team, but you fire your coach right after that. Like, what was kind of your reaction to that?
I just hate the way some teams in the NBA do things these days. I feel like they think firing the coach is like this fix all to everything, and
Right?
it's really not.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it time and time again. We saw the Nuggets make the absolute stupid decision to fire their coach. Why? I mean, again, I'm a Lakers fan, so like there is kind of that rivalry there, but even I'm like, why would you fire him? And especially when it was like 3 games before the playoffs.
Yeah, like the last week of the season. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I don't understand these decisions that these front offices make. I don't know if they're trying to like cater to fans or like show that they're trying to do something, but they're really not.
Right.
It just really doesn't make any sense. For the New York situation, again, it doesn't make sense. That team had a good enough chemistry as it was. I mean, they brought in Carl Anthony Towns, which I think made the team better, honestly, over
Right.
Randall.
Right.
I mean, obviously, I have my feelings about Julius Randle, but I mean, yeah, they did give up some role players to get Carl Anthony Towns, but I mean, I feel like they were a solid enough team. I feel like they could have ran it back or tried to pick up maybe a couple more pieces and keep that same team together. And now we're we're doing this. So
Right.
now it's a big question mark in terms of what direction we're going in.
Right. Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, and that's how I feel too. It's like, what do you think this is going to do? Like, this is going to make your team better? Yeah, I get if they make different moves, they get another star on the team. Yeah, it's going to make it better. But this coach took you further than the last, what, 8 coaches they've had in the last 2.5 decades. So I don't understand it. You're still the Knicks. It's like, I know that you're in New York, but you also got to realize, like, the Knicks haven't won a championship since '73.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, most people watching the show probably weren't born, and if you were younger. So it's like, you haven't won in over 50 years. You're in a big market, but you're not the Lakers, you're not the Celtics, you're not even like San Antonio or something like that, or the Bulls, who've kind of
Sure.
carried the NBA for a while at certain times. So I don't get just kind of that knee jerk reaction. Yeah, it sucks you lost to a team you thought you were better than in Indiana, but I don't know. I think that was kind of just a bad move by them. I don't think that's going to make them any better unless they get the right pieces. But who else is out there that's going to be better? Are they going to go hire Malone that just got fired by the Nuggets? Are they going to hire someone else like that? Who knows? But getting off that a little bit, was there anything else you wanted to get into a little bit before we got to the finals preview?
Um I guess like kind of what we were discussing. I mean, how did you feel about the Western Conference and Eastern Conference Finals MVPs of each conference?
Oh yeah. So yeah, Shea was easy for the Western Conference. Like that was kind of a no brainer. But yeah,
Sure.
I thought Halliburton was the MVP for the Eastern Conference. I know Siakam maybe was more consistent, but I think Halliburton had better. Like he had a triple double one game, had 41 game. I know he had the game where he only had 8 points, but still, I think he's. And if you think about, okay, who's the best player on the Pacers? It's Halliburton. Like Siakam's a good player, but you don't think about him when you're thinking about best player on the Pacers. And I think more moments in this series for Halliburton. I'm not like all upset about it and be like all up in arms, but I definitely
Sure.
think that like Halliburton deserved the MVP. Is that how you feel as well?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like that. I mean, watching game one, I mean, just the shot he made to even get into overtime and then
Right.
in overtime, he's just been like super clutch throughout the playoffs as well. I feel like he was even in the that series. Yeah, he did have a couple of games or maybe he didn't produce as much, but I feel like overall, without Tyrese, I don't feel like they would have. I mean, the series might have been going on till yesterday, you know. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Thought it was interesting, but I mean, we don't
Yeah.
make those decisions, I guess.
Yeah. We don't make that. And I know last year, both, I think it was the conference finals and the NBA finals, MVPs went to Brown, and people were like, oh, should
Yeah,
Tatum have won one? And like, I know Tatum probably downplayed it, but I think deep down, both the guys are probably like, hey, I'd like to have that. I would have liked to win that. So
sure.
maybe that helps the Pacers a little bit. That helps fire up Tyrese Halliburton because I think they're going to need a lot of help, like
Yeah,
going in this series. So kind of just moving to the NBA finals. I think the Thunder are clearly a better team. Now, I'm not going to like just dismiss the Pacers because they've really been awesome this whole entire playoff run, but I think it's a pretty decent mismatch. I think the Thunder are that just their defense is ridiculous. Shea, whether he's, anything he does. I know some people don't love the foul kind of baiting and things like that, but I think outside of that, he's still just like an awesome player. But kind of just first look at this NBA Finals. How do you feel either way?
I mean, yeah, I definitely agree with what you just said. Obviously, the Thunder have had. I mean, they were the number one team in the league this season. They are obviously definitely better than the Pacers. I feel like I feel like it's sort of an even ground now that it's the finals, but for sure, I mean, I think it's going to be tough for the Pacers just because, like, yeah, they have good defensive players. They have guys coming off the bench like Caruso, who I know as a Lakers fan is like a huge difference maker. Like doesn't always show up in the box score, but I mean the guy's everywhere. I mean he's a really good defender. He can score. Um, and I just think the way that the Thunder run their offense, it's like I was watching them play the Timberwolves, and I was like paying attention to it, and they scored like on 20 straight possessions or something. It was insane. And then they go back on defense, and they're really good at on defense as well. So I definitely think the Pacers are gonna have to they're gonna have to work on some schemes for sure. I mean, we haven't seen them in this series yet, of course, but they're definitely going to need their 3-point shooters. Nembhard and Naismith got to definitely have a New York series performance.
For sure.
Tyrese probably can't have an off game,
Right.
and they'll definitely need a lot of production from Siakam. Hopefully, Miles Turner gives them some good minutes against Chet and Hartenstein, and I mean, we can see what they'll do. But I feel like if the Pacers don't get at least one in Oklahoma, it's probably going to be tough for them,
Right.
just because they're at such a mismatch.
Right. Yeah, I think this game one's huge because you're still riding the momentum. You've had a little less of a layoff, even though both teams been off for multiple days now. But yeah, I think game
Sure.
one's huge. Can you get in there and kind of take? I know Denver took game one, and that didn't exactly matter at the end of the day. But I think this is different. Obviously, it's the finals. The
Yeah.
OKC is still a young team. Like where the Pacers have more experience now. None of their players have really played at this, other than Siakam, who won it with Toronto. None of the
Yeah.
players really have played in the finals, but they've been in bigger series. They've played longer, so I know everybody said that for years now about the Thunder, and now they've kind of just proven that doesn't matter this year. So I don't know if
Yeah.
that really plays into it, but yeah, I mean, just looking at this Thunder team, I just watching them both on defense and offense is they come at you in waves. It's not just Shea. It could be Jalen Williams one night. I love Caruso too, like you said. I love when they put him on Jokic, and he was able to shut down Jokic, having what like an 8 inch, if not more, difference in height, and he's just
Yeah.
shutting down Jokic as
Yeah.
basically a shooting guard against the center. I thought that was unbelievable. I think they're just set up right now. They've played the best. They've been the best team all season. They've played the best in this playoff. So I think it's going to be real difficult. But this Pacers team, I feel like they've probably heard this entire playoffs. You got, going up against Milwaukee, like, hey, they got Giannis, they got Dame, they got two players better than any players on your team. Going up
Yeah.
against Cleveland, Cleveland was the second best team all year. Going up against the Knicks just knocked out the defending champion. So I feel like the Pacers have heard this all postseason. So
Sure.
so it's probably like they probably prefer it at this point. Like, hey,
Yeah.
keep doubting us. We're gonna keep doing our thing. Like we don't care. So I think they could make it interesting. I think probably around 6-ish games is where I'm thinking. But I think if they could take game one, kind of put the pressure on OKC, because the pressure's on OKC. Like they're the team that's supposed to win. They're the favorites. I think in the first
Sure.
game, they're a 9.5 point favorite. So Vegas
Wow.
thinks they're going to win the game by 10 points,
Yeah.
basically. So that's a lot for finals. I think going into last year, I think the Celtics to start the series were like 2 or 3 points against the Mavericks. So I think it'll be a fun series. It's different. It's newer teams. It's newer players, but it's going to be difficult. But like, what would you say would be the most intriguing matchup in the series?
I just think Shea versus Halliburton, the guard matchup. I mean, those are like the two main stars on each team, more or less.
Right.
So I think that could be the difference maker just right there.
Right.
I mean, I think both teams have a lot of role players that can score and defend. But I think that'll be the matchup for sure to watch out for. Obviously, we know what Shea can do. He won the MVP, so I mean, we know what he's capable of. And on the other side, we've seen what Tyrese can do and how he can produce offensively for himself or his teammates. So,
Right.
I mean, he's going to have to definitely do that as well. And I mean, both Shea and Tyrese are pretty good to have in the clutch. So I think that'll be the matchup for sure to watch out for. It could honestly just come down to that.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like you said, the matchup between the two stars is going to be huge. And I think, yeah, if Halliburton, like you said earlier, is going to have like his A+ game every game, and not just on offense, but on defense, because he's probably going to have to guard, maybe not Shea all the time, but sometimes. So he's going to have to step up his defense as well. I think the role players is a good matchup, like you've talked about, is just because both these teams have good role players and guys who can step up in big moments, like a Siakam. who got the MVP. Miles Turner, what's he going to do in this game? Can he play a big role? And then, yeah, Nembhard and Nesmith probably going to be the guys who are guarding Shea more often than Halliburton is. Can they slow down Shea, and can they knock down threes? Like you said, against the Knicks, there was games where, I mean, was it game one? Was it Nesmith that just went off
Yeah,
in the
he
fourth
just went
quarter
off.
and just brought
Yeah.
them back from the dead? Basically, I almost
Yep.
turned that game off. I was like, this
I
is
almost
over.
did. I almost turned it off too,
Yeah,
and they just kept making threes, and I'm like, "There's no way they come back."
right. That was insane game, and then
Insane.
the bounce on the back of the backboard, or on the back of the rim
Yeah.
for Halliburton, just insane game. And it,
Yep.
like, that game set off the whole series. Like the Thunder,
Hmm.
I'm sorry, the Pacers came back, won that game, and you could tell that like the Knicks were like they were just pressing and they were just playing from behind the entire series. The Pacers can do that as well. Take the home court advantage away from the Thunder, win that game one. Now more pressures on the Thunder. I think that would be huge. But yeah, I think the role players interesting to me because like guys like Jalen Williams, Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, Chet Holmgren,
Hmm.
Hartenstein, like those guys, if they can have big roles like they've had, and then on the other side with the Pacers, like I've said, the guys Nesmith, Nembhard, McConnell, who's just kind of like one of those guys that's always just like he's one of those small little white guys you always see just randomly. He's just like he just bothers you. It's like a Peyton Pritchard. It's like a
Yeah.
Alex Caruso a little bit, but he makes plays and he's just a good consistent player. Which
Yeah.
teams role players? Because the stars. Like I think Shea's going to have big games. He's going to play well. I think
Sure.
Halliburton for the most part will play well because he's played well most of the postseason. But which role players step up and kind of make that biggest difference in the postseason here or in the finals? I think is going to be a huge thing going forward for this series.
Yeah, and I mean another thing we didn't touch on is like I think Tyrese has that extra motivation being called the most overrated player in the league.
Right,
I think
right.
he's definitely been using that to his
Big
advantage
time, big time.
throughout all the playoffs. So, I mean, to be in the finals and be the most overrated player, quote unquote, I mean, I think he's got a lot of motivation from that for sure.
Agreed. So I don't know if you've heard this theme about this finals. They're calling it the Paul George finals because
Oh,
basically
yeah.
Paul George was traded to kind of put this team together in Indy, and then he was traded to put this team together in OKC. There's still
Yep.
players on both teams that are
Hmm.
from those trades. So, and then I mean, if we're gonna vote most overrated player, I might have voted Paul George before I voted Tyrese Halliburton, but that's a
Sure.
conversation for another day.
Yeah.
But what I feel like both these teams are kind of built the right way. They're both in small markets, so they're not going to get the super teams. They're not going to be like LeBron and Durant just all wanting to go there and team up. So they built it the right way. When you look at
And they've
these teams,
proven that they don't need it.
they don't exactly. It's like you could build through the draft, you could build through trades, and kind of build it that way, how it's really supposed to be done. And I think that's huge for the league. I know everybody's going to talk about the TV ratings. Like, yeah, they're probably not going to be as good as they were last year when you had Luca versus the Celtics, or when you had those years with LeBron and Steph going against each other. But it's like this is still going to be really good finals. I think it's going to be teams that you didn't expect. It's going to be markets you didn't expect, but it doesn't always have to be LA versus Boston or big market teams with big marquee players. But
Yeah.
if you were to look at either one of these teams, like who do you think just kind of post finals is a team that you would bet on going forward?
Just between the two teams
Yeah,
in the finals,
yeah.
who would I bet on? Oh, just like who's gonna win, right?
Well, who's going to win the series? But like, not just we'll get to our predictions here in a little bit. But like,
Okay. I
if
mean,
one of these two,
it.
sorry about that. If one of these two teams were to rattle off like multiple championships, which one would you think it would be?
I mean, it's pretty hard to go against OKC right now. I mean, I think both. I mean, have proven that they're capable of it, but I think just the season OKC had, the players they have, it seems like their chemistry is just so good. I think that's like super crucial to team success is like crazy chemistry like that. And I mean, you see them, on videos on Instagram, for example, like their team chemistry is like really good. Even when they made some moves and, added new pieces, like they bring them in pretty well, you can see, and the team chemistry is there. They have the ability. They have Shea. I mean, their role players are super good. I mean, we've seen Lou Dort, who's a really good defensive player, and then we've seen him also have games where he hits like 5 threes or more.
Right,
I
right.
mean, that's a really really crazy thing to have. Having Chet is a really good thing for potential mismatches. So yeah, I mean, I feel like OKC is definitely going to be a top team for at least the next few years for sure. I mean, they were definitely one of them last season, and now they're in the finals this season. So pretty hard to go against Oklahoma.
Yeah, I agree there. I think they're the team kind of going forward that's going to be the team to beat. I think they'll so if, whether they win this finals or not, I think they're kind of the team to be going for, especially in the Western
Sure.
Conference. Although Western Conference is pretty deep, so there could be some other teams that come out of it. But wanted to go ahead and get your prediction, and then we can kind of talk about some other NBA stuff to finish out the show. Who do you like, and kind of give me the games that you think this series is going to go?
So, like I just said, kind of hard to go against OKC. I think they are a bit more proven, but I think I like riding with the underdog usually. I'm gonna ride with the Pacers for sure.
Sure. Okay.
I feel like they've had so much going against them the whole playoffs. I mean,
Right.
like I said in the beginning, I don't feel like anybody really thought they could win any of the series they were in.
Right.
Maybe Milwaukee, um, but like definitely no one saw them beating Cleveland, especially the way they did. I mean, the Knicks series was crazy. So I feel like in their minds, in their locker room, they're like, why not us? Why can't we? Why can't we beat another team that we're not
Absolutely.
favored against? And I feel like they have the personnel to do it. It's not like it's super one sided. I mean, I think obviously Oklahoma City is better, but this could be a series that goes back and forth for sure. I see it going 6 or 7 games, I think.
Gotcha. I'm so glad you had the guts and the balls to take the Pacers because I wanted to do that. I'm not gonna do that, but I want to do
Uh
it. I'll probably be rooting for the Pacers to be honest with you, but I'm gonna roll with the Thunder in 6. I'm guessing, but yeah, I think the Pacers. I think a lot of people are like, "Hey, this is gonna be a 5-game series. Could be a sweep." I think are gonna be wrong there, but I'm glad you had the guts to roll with them because I wanted to so bad, and I was just like, I don't know. It just seems like it's Shea's time. It's the Thunder's time. Like they've
Sure.
been the best team all year long. So I'm gonna go with the Thunder, but I'm hoping you're right. I'm hoping the Pacers win in 6 or 7. I'm not gonna be upset either way because I think both. I don't have a rooting interest. Is that hard for either one of these teams?
Yeah.
I think they're both likable teams, likable players, things like that. But
Sure.
just to kind of look outside of the finals, what do you think the state of like the NBA is right now? Because I feel like people have talked about it. I've talked about it a little bit. Like talk about like the ratings are down, certain players, things like that. What do you feel like the state of the NBA is right now? And do you feel like going forward it can get better?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's in maybe a lesser state than it once was. I think there's definitely a transition period going on with like
Right.
I feel like the youth are coming up now, and we're seeing that LeBron, Steph, KD, these guys are getting closer to retirement, and you're seeing younger stars like how we're seeing in the finals, Luca. I mean, we're seeing these stars step up, and you know, obviously you hear a lot of talk about Ant being the face of the league.
Right.
He's
Right.
another young star. So I think that the league is in a kind of transitioning period to having these younger players be the face of the league. Um, do I think it can get better? Absolutely. I kind of have my reservations about Adam Silver as the commissioner,
Same.
but
Same.
I think overall it's in a decent spot. I mean, we can't really compare it to how the league was even 10 years ago. Obviously, we saw the Warriors Cavs final series like 4 seasons in a row. So it's cool to have that more of variety. I do think it can get better, and I mean it's cool to see like where the league can go. Obviously, Cooper Flag's going to get drafted this season. Hopefully, Wembanyama can come back and be all right. But I think that's where the league is at. Just like getting these new budding stars and putting them in the spotlight. Now we're gonna see maybe less and less of the quote unquote older stars and more of them.
Right. I agree too. Like I've had my reservations about the league, and there's other things like that bother me too. Like I feel like the threes have gotten a little bit out of control, especially with the
Yeah,
Celtics. But I think that's going to come back down to earth a little bit, especially because I think hopefully the Celtics learned a little bit from this postseason. It's like, hey, maybe we don't need to shoot 53s a game because that doesn't. When you go cold and you're not making your shots, like you got to figure out how to do other things. So I think that'll help. I think just getting some of these young stars up and getting their names out there. It was awesome having Curry and LeBron and Durant and those guys. And you go all the way back to when I was younger, like Kobe and Shaq and Duncan and those kind of guys. It was great having those guys for years, but it's like at some
Sure.
point, like you said, there's a transition period. Those guys aren't the big stars anymore. They're not going to be the ones winning championships, most likely. So let's see these young guys. Let's see this Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, the Jalen Brunsons, the Ants, the Halliburtons, the Lucas. Hopefully not, because he's on the Lakers now. But
Right, right.
but either way, like some of these younger players get up there and do their thing. I think that would be really cool. But you touched on one thing that I kind of wanted to talk about, but I didn't really have to bring it up. You brought up Cooper Flag. What do you think about that situation and the Mavericks winning that lottery? They trade away Luka with a lopsided trade. That was one of the bigger, like, shocking trades I can remember in the history of sports that I've been watching, not just the NBA. But then all of a sudden, you have they had like a 1.5% chance to win the lottery.
1.8%,
What
and
was
they
it?
hit it.
1.8%. Is that
Yeah.
what it was? And then they win
Yeah.
it. So I'm not saying that it was something fishy there, but I'm not saying it. So what do you think
Sure.
there?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting. It's a head scratcher for sure, right? Because you saw so many teams this season like just struggle,
Right.
or they've just not been good for seasons. And the Mavs just went to the finals last season. Yeah, they did trade away Luca, and it's like, okay, and then now they get. I mean, there's no way they don't draft Cooper Flag. So this has the potential to actually work out in the Mavs' favor.
Right.
As crazy as that seems, because barring AD's health, they have him. Kyrie comes back, all right. They'll still have Kyrie. They have Clay. They have a lot of good big men. So like, they have potential as a team if that all comes together that way.
Right.
In
Right.
terms of what I think about it being fishy, it is interesting. I will say that.
Right.
Such a low percentage chance of it happening, and it actually happens.
Right.
And I guess like we don't know like the behind the scenes of how that even goes down.
Right.
So it is interesting. I'm not going to say it was rigged, but yeah, as a Lakers fan who was involved with that deal, it's interesting to see for sure.
Right. Well, so obviously I'm here in Utah, and they were tied, I think, with the best odds to win with, I think, like, was it Washington and somebody else, or maybe Charlotte. So
Yeah.
the people out here are definitely saying it's rigged, because it's like they've been tanking for years. Obviously, you trade Mitchell, you trade Gobert, like you've
Mm-hmm.
been stock all these picks up, and they end up with the 5th pick with the best odds, and then all of a sudden, yeah, the team with the 1.8 odds wins the lottery. So yeah, they're definitely saying it's rigged. I'm not gonna go that far. I know plenty of people here that are willing to go that far and without any hesitation, but yeah, I'm not gonna go that far. It was just interesting to see. But yeah, I mean, they could end up looking. Nico Harrison could keep his job. I thought he should already been fired, but maybe he keeps his job now. Unless they trade the pick, then, geez, I mean,
Yeah,
that would
I
be
mean
crazy.
that would just
Yeah.
be
If that trade isn't for like Giannis, then I don't know what are you doing at that point. But yeah,
yeah.
how it could end up, like, he could end up just like smelling like roses and coming out looking fine after all that is crazy. I think Cooper Flag's a really good player. I don't know if he's like a Luka or like a LeBron coming out in '03. Like, I don't think
Sure.
he's that level, or even like a Wemby a couple years
Yeah.
ago. But I think he's a good. You pair him with Kyrie and some other players on their team, Anthony Davis. I think he could be a really good player for them going
Yeah.
forward. But there was one kind of last topic I wanted to touch on, and that was, guys, like, there's rumors out there Giannis, Durant are on the trade market. Do
Yeah.
you think they're going to get traded? And if they do get traded, is there a place you want to see either one of these guys play?
I feel like so yeah, I have heard that. I feel like most likely if they're not traded by the offseason, definitely before the trade deadline.
Right.
Um in terms of where I want to see them, anywhere but Boston.
I don't think that's happening. So yeah, I think you're
Did
good
did did
there.
you see did you
Yeah.
see the Giannis rumors for Boston?
Yeah. They have to trade. Yeah, it'd have to be Jalen Brown. Like, he'd have to be a part of it, and maybe Drew goes back there. I think
How do
that's
you
a
feel about
lot.
that?
That's a lot for an eight. Giannis is better than those guys, and obviously Drew's older. And I don't know. That's a lot. And they're probably gonna want picks. I don't know how the salary would, but I don't see that happening. I would be down with it. You'd have Giannis for a year, and then Giannis and Tatum in 2 years. That'd be, because I feel like the Jalen Brown, Jason Tatum, you got a title out of that, but I still think there's just, I don't know, it just doesn't fit the greatest going forward, especially if they're going to be a 3-point shooting team. But they need size. I think Porzingis is he's never like reliably healthy. And then Horford's just getting old. Like he's probably got 1 year left in him. I'm
Sure.
surprised he's already committed to next year. I thought this would have been his last year. Maybe he doesn't want to go out like that. But
Yeah.
I'd love that. I don't see it happening. I'd love that. But I mean, I know the Lakers have been floated, but I don't think they can make that happen with any kind of trades. They're just it's
Yeah.
logistically it wouldn't happen.
Yeah, I don't think they could make that happen. I know they're like trying to get centers,
Right.
but I don't think they could make either of those deals happen. But I did want to say I heard that the Timberwolves are trying to target KD. I think that'd be pretty cool for Ant and KD to play together. I
That'd be
mean,
nice.
who knows how that would work, but
Right.
obviously you know how Ant feels about KD, so I mean
Right.
it'd be cool to see them on a team together.
Right.
In terms of Giannis, I really don't know. I don't know where he maybe could fit more. I don't know where he would fit the best that I could think of. I mean, you just see how teams like the teams that have had success so far have like not needed another big star.
Right.
Um, but I don't know. Maybe he could go to like Miami and help them out because obviously they lost Jimmy Butler.
Right.
I mean, that's maybe something I could think of just off the top of my head. How do you feel?
I got two spots I think he could work. One's kind of tough, but first one's Houston. Got a good young team. Jalen Green, I think's
Yeah,
coming up. Maybe you just put him there and he kind of helps these young guys get to the next level. The other one for me is, but it'd be a weird kind of connection with Wemby, but San Antonio.
oh yeah, I saw
They got a
that.
lot of good young guys. They got a lot of picks that they could give. Because I think Giannis is probably gone. Because Dame's out for all of
Yeah,
next year. He tore
yeah,
his Achilles as well. There's no reason
yeah,
for him to stick around. They're not going anywhere. And even when Dame comes back, he's going to be older. He's going to be off an injury. They're not going anywhere there. So he needs to
yeah,
get out.
yeah.
So those would be the two teams. Trying to think anybody else. The Knicks would be interesting. I don't know how they would do it. They'd have to give up Cat and probably Bridges, if not more. But that would be interesting. But I think Houston's a good spot. I think Orlando is a good spot too.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Magic too.
Yeah, yeah. Pair him up with Banchero. Probably have. I don't know what you give up because I mean, like, if you're the Bucks, you're gonna ask for a lot. Like this guy has been your franchise player for a decade now. You're gonna ask for a lot. So it's probably gonna be a lot of picks, probably a lot of players too. So that'll be interesting. And then KD, like, is it worth him staying in Phoenix and just to deal with that, just like dumpster fire that is, or does he
No,
need to find his way out?
he's gonna find his way out. We already know. I
I,
mean,
yeah, I think so too, because he's still got some left in the tank. Like I think
he
he could
absolutely
be.
does, and that team just did not work.
Yeah,
I mean, for a team with that much star power to not even make the play-in is just crazy.
yeah, not even make the play, and it's like I know like Bradley Beal's. He may have been the most overrated player. Maybe he should have won that vote, but still,
Right.
you still got Booker and you still got KD. You feel like you could at least be the 10th best team in the conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's embarrassing, and I feel like KD can't go out like that. He's already kind of got that label where it's like, hey, you got 2 rings, but you kind of jumped on the bandwagon in Golden State to get those 2 rings. So I
Yeah.
feel like he needs the. Obviously, he'd probably be jumping on some other bandwagon, so maybe people talk about. But get out there, kind of finish your career off on a high note, see what you could do. Fits for him are weird though, because I don't know how much money he's going to demand at this point and what kind of trade he's going to demand. I've heard the Knicks there too, a Cat for KD trade. I don't know if I love that because Cat's just younger and he's a big. But
How'd you feel about if he went back to the Warriors?
I mean, that would be interesting. I like the Paul. I mean, I like the Jimmy Butler addition. I thought that was good. I think they
Sure.
may have beaten Minnesota if Steph Curry doesn't get hurt. I think they may have beaten
Yeah.
Minnesota that series. It would have been a good series either way, but I think they could have won. So they would have
Hmm.
lost to OKC. I don't see them beating OKC. But I mean, that's interesting. Would he do that though? Like, hey, you go back to the Warriors and you get back to like a conference finals or say even the finals, like you're always going to be in like Steph's shadow. It's always going
Yeah.
to be like, well, that's Steph's team. Yeah, that's not your team. So if you're
Yeah.
willing to go back there and hey, let's give it one last ride, play for a couple of years. But if you win a finals, I don't think they would in Golden State.
Yeah.
But they win another finals, it's going to be like, hey, that's Steph's team still. So does he worry about that or not? I don't think he does. I think KD's
I
gonna
don't
be one
think
of
he
those guys
does.
that just doesn't care. He just wants
Yeah.
to play basketball and do his thing.
Yeah.
But Warriors are interesting. I think the Knicks are interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knicks are definitely interesting. I don't think he'll go there though, just because of everything that went down with Brooklyn and the Knicks when that
Right.
was going down.
That's true. That's true. So yeah, I don't know where he ends up, but yeah, maybe Houston or in Orlando, maybe him and like some of these other spots that Giannis has talked about, but should be a pretty good offseason, some good trades. I
Yeah,
haven't
for
really looked
sure.
at the free agent list, but yes, if those two guys get traded, I mean, that's a crazy offseason to begin with. That's two of the better known players in the league. But kind of before we sign off here, I'm going to give you one last chance. Are you sticking with the Pacers?
I'm sticking with the Pacers.
All righty. All righty. Well, I'm going to stick with the Thunder. So we got Thunder and Pacers. I'm glad that we both didn't have the Thunder. I'm glad that, like I said, you had the balls to go ahead and roll with the Pacers when I wanted to, but I just chickened out.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. But either way, before we sign out here, any last thing or any last points or anything that you have, Justin?
I did have a couple of topics I wanted to maybe touch on if you're all right with that.
Yeah. I've got nowhere to be, so we're good.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, so two topics. One that's like a little bit smaller than the other, but I just wanted to know what you thought about Russell Westbrook and where he goes from here in Denver. I mean, he's getting older now, and
Right.
I've heard a lot of talk about if he's gonna get a championship. I just wanted to get your thoughts on what you feel with that. Obviously, we saw how the Nuggets went out
Right.
and they fired their coach. So,
Right. Um, I haven't really given that much thought. I'm not gonna lie to you. Russell Westbrook. I have not thought about Russell Westbrook since they were eliminated. I don't see him getting the championship unless he just kind of jumps on a ready-made team, like reunites in OKC or jumps on like a team in the East or something like that. I don't know because yeah, I feel like he's gonna be one of those guys. He'll be a Hall of Famer. There's no doubt. One of
oh,
those guys
sure.
that really good player, kind of a flawed player, a little bit has like his like issues and things like that. Not a complete player, but no, I don't see him getting the championship. And maybe he stays in Denver. He played okay down the stretch there, like it wasn't bad, but I don't know. Is he just going to be one of those guys that just ring chases until he retires? Kind of like, oh, I'll just jump on the best team at the end of your career and see if you can get a ring.
Right.
I don't see him as
Right.
that guy, but yeah, that's a good question. I'm gonna if I had to make a bet right now, I would make a bet that he ends up ringless when he retires, and I think he probably just stays in Denver. But yeah, he could end up in a lot of places.
Yeah. I mean, I think he'll probably stay in Denver. I don't know where he would go. I mean,
Right.
obviously, I know that there's I mean, he knows who he is, so he has
Yeah.
I think a threshold of what he's expecting from a team. So I
Right.
feel like if they're not willing to give it, then he's probably not going to go there.
Right.
Um, but the other point I was going to bring up, and this one's a bit of a bigger topic, but we've heard all throughout the season, especially in the playoffs, about who the face of the league is. And
Right.
how do you feel about Anthony Edwards being the quote unquote face of the league or the new face, or if he is or will?
I think it was premature last year when they did that, and the whole like Kobe and Michael comparisons are premature. He's still only 23, so he's still young. So I
Sure.
think it's not fair to him to put that on him, and it's premature. But I I wouldn't say he's the face of the league. I mean, he last two conference finals, they made the last two conference finals, and he was clearly the second best player or worse in both those conference finals. Like last year, Luca was clearly better than him. This year, Shea was clearly better than him. And I mean, most games, Randall looked better some games. Jalen Williams looked better some games. So I think he's got a lot of work to do, but he's got a lot of time. He's 23 years old. If I had to pick like a face of the league today, that's tough because I think like the league's still kind of in that weird spot, like we've talked about before, where it's like, hey, the faces of our league are still sort of LeBron and Curry, even
Yeah.
though they're not as good as they were, and their
Sure.
teams are not as good as they were. I'd love for it to be Tatum, but he just doesn't seem that kind of guy that wants to kind of take that next step and be the face of the league. And there's just things about his game that kind of frustrate me a little bit, even though I love the guy and he's a great player.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Shea. If Shea wins this championship, maybe it's him. But I think it's up for grabs, like in the next
Yeah.
3 to 4 years. Like it's up for grabs. If the Thunder rattle off like two titles in the next 4 years, it's probably Shea. But hey, if Minnesota gets up there, maybe it's Ant. But yeah, I think it was a little premature for Ant. I don't think he was ready for that, as it was kind of obvious to see. But just kind of giving that back to you, do you feel like it was he is the face of the league, or do you think there is like a quote unquote, like you said, face of the league?
I feel like it was definitely like jump of the gun to say that.
Right.
Um, I mean, I think his personality is why,
Right.
in part with his talent, he just has a great personality. So I think that was
Right.
maybe why that was starting to be like pushed.
Right.
Because the guy's funny as heck, man. I mean,
Yeah,
he
he's
really
great
is.
personality for sure.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean, obviously we've seen, when it comes to crunch time and those super important games, yeah, sometimes he is a little less apparent than others.
Right.
In terms of there's a clear cut face of the league, I'm in agreement with you. I mean, I think it's like I said, just the league's transitioning. LeBron and Steph are still playing. KD is still playing.
Right.
Um, you just kind of have those guys that are still in the league, so it's like kind of hard to just say outright, "Oh yeah, it's Ant, it's Luca, it's Wembanyama or Giannis."
Right.
So I think I'm in agreement with you there too. Like I think that it is kind of up for grabs. I think maybe the next few years could decide that because obviously you're thinking in the next few years, you know, KD, Steph, and LeBron might not be in the league anymore.
Right.
CP3 will probably retire. So, you
Right.
know, all those players will be out of the league by then. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And kind of just one other topic. Do you feel like next year is LeBron's like final year? Do you think he holds on? Does he hold out until what's the other son? Bryce, I think is the other son. Try to
yeah.
force his way into the league or whatever. But I feel like it should be his last year. I mean, he's gonna be 42 years old. Like you're not catching Michael at this time when it comes to championships. So it's like, yeah, you're still a really good player, still a top 10, 15 player, no doubt. But it's like at this point, you've done everything you could. I think it should be his last year, but I could see him playing further as long as he's healthy and he still can play at a high level. But obviously, Lakers fan. I don't know if you're a LeBron fan as well, but I know we've talked about it. But what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a fan of LeBron and the Lakers. I feel like this season might be his last. But I could also see him doing another season if the Lakers went far enough. I
Right,
mean, I feel like if somehow the Lakers won the championship, then maybe he would just retire as a champion.
right,
But they did get Luca, so depending on the pieces they put around them,
right.
um, I think that would be the deciding factor. But me personally, I feel like it'll be his last season. I've kind of heard like rumblings and talking about it being his last season. And he's gonna kind of do his like farewell tour and
I've
stuff.
heard that
So
too. Yep.
yeah, so I mean, he'd ended on year 23. I mean that's kind of fitting in a way.
Right, right,
But yeah, I mean, I agree. He's still a good player. I mean, I mean, biased because I'm a Lakers fan, but I mean, we saw in the Olympics like that he was still able to play well there. We won the gold medal. Obviously, in the
right,
playoffs this most recent time,
right.
didn't really make too much of a difference. So I think personnel was a big reason for that.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I feel like if he's not playing at a super high level, then yeah, I think he'd probably retire. Um,
Agreed.
I think he's even said that before that he doesn't want to play until he like can't play anymore. So
Right.
yeah, he's probably got like one season, two at max, I think.
Agreed. I think so too. I have heard the same thing about like the farewell tour thing, like how Kobe did his last year, and guys have done that in other
Sure.
leagues, like Jeter did that in
Yeah.
baseball and things like that. So I could see that. And I mean, we've talked about this. I'm not the biggest LeBron guy, but he's sort of earned that decision to be up to himself and nobody else. Obviously, the Lakers aren't going to force him to retire at any point. He could play till he's like
Yeah.
50, and they probably wouldn't force him to retire.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's not an issue there. But yeah, I think 1-2 years max. Because I think it's like, dude, like go enjoy your life. Like you've played in the NBA since you were like 18 years old. So
Yeah.
it's like you're more than half your life has been in the NBA. Almost like
Yeah.
2/3 of your life has been in the NBA. So it's like go
Oh
enjoy
yeah.
your life, enjoy your family. Bronny can ever turn into an actual NBA player. You can go to all the games and watch him, or you can go to the G League where he belongs and watch him there. But that's
Well, yeah, I mean that's what I was gonna bring up too. You know,
yeah,
you saw what I had sent you about that. That
right.
they're keen on making him an integral role player. So,
Yeah,
I mean, I guess if that works, maybe he's a lock for another season after this next season. But
I don't
I mean,
know.
we know how, you know.
Yeah, I he's a good defender. He's not a great shooter, and he's only 6'1", so he's kind of undersized. He's not a point guard, so he's undersized as a two guard. I just don't see the fit. I get it. It's like, hey, that kind of stuff happens in every industry in the country and the world. Like someone
Sure.
getting a job that they didn't really deserve because their dad or someone in their family was in the same industry. So I'm not like gonna like yell about it and be
Yeah.
all upset about it. But try to make him an integral role, especially after LeBron's gone, maybe that's just JJ and the organization saying that to keep LeBron around for another year or two. But I just don't ever see him turning into like a full time role player for an NBA team unless he gets like unless his shooting really improves and maybe his passing improves and he could play a little bit of the point. But I don't
What do
see
you
it.
see his ceiling as?
Uh, his ceiling would be like a TJ McConnell for the Pacers. Just a
Wow.
real good like role player, like gritty, good defensive player, but can score and make plays. That would be his ceiling. And I don't see him getting that high, but I think that would be his ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, and you know, I just feel like they did try to get him integrated into the rotation. I mean, um, you know, he had like a good game or two, I think, but for the
Yeah.
most part, it was just kind of tough. And
Right.
you know, I understand. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it, but like he was killing it in the G League like the whole
Yeah.
season.
Yeah. And he
So I mean,
was. And it's like let him develop there and then bring him up. But like to have him try to develop as a playing like 3 minutes a game as a
yeah,
bench player, it's like it's just not going to work. I know there's games in the middle of the season where like your stars are sitting and he can go out there and play 20 25 minutes and maybe get some reps, but let him develop in the G League and then see if he can turn into a role player at some point. But yeah, just to kind
sure,
of force him on the team. And there's other players that are probably more deserving of that spot, even though it's like the last spot on the bench sometimes. But
yeah.
yeah, any other topics that you had, Justin, or anything else you wanted to touch on?
No, I think we covered it.
Okay. Well, as always, it's been a pleasure having you on. We always try to have you on during the playoffs, during the postseason with the NBA. It was tough. I
Absolutely, of
couldn't get one around at the beginning of the playoffs, but love doing our finals preview. Got to talk a lot of NBA,
course.
which we love to do. Next time I see you, I know we'll do that a ton.
Yep.
And just for the show, if you like this show, please like and subscribe right down here. Sports Talk on a Budget on YouTube. Also, if you prefer the audio version, is available places like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, pretty much wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you again, Justin, for joining us today, and everybody have a good night.
Yeah. Sorry about the interruption. Someone called me.